Hi guys, welcome back. I'm standing here on the shores of the beautiful Belize River, and in this episode I'm going to go over our water system and explain to you guys why it's so hard for us to have a consistent fresh water supply at the house, considering we live a stone's throw from this fresh water source right here. Right here you'll see we have our nice shiny water pump, plenty of water pressure. But it wasn't always like that, and last week was a challenge figuring out getting water to the house, and I'm going to explain exactly why. Also, at the end of this video, there's a big update concerning the hot sauce business that I'm starting. You're not going to want to miss that part. Things are happening here, and I couldn't be more excited. So stay tuned till the end, and I'll show you that. Hey, good morning. Today's job is extending the intake pipe on our water pump. You can see the pipe comes up here, goes all the way down to the river, and if you notice, we have two sections of pipe right now. This one is the original, and what happened is during the rainy season, the water comes up all the way to where I'm standing right now. There'll be a few inches of water here. And as you can see, the water level's all the way down there. So right now, the water level is probably at least 25 feet lower than it is in rainy season. What happened was, during the height of the flooding, something happened to the original pipe. Whether the foot valve got dirty and stuck, or a branch caught it while it was floating by and put a crack in the line. Still don't know what happened. I'm going to try and find out today. But anyways, the pump kept losing its prime. I'd just pour water in, and it would just go back into the river. So what I ended up doing was installing a whole new water intake pipe into the river. And the reason I couldn't just pull this old water line out and repair it is that it's wired to this wood. And when the water's this high, the current is super strong. It could drag a friggin' freight train all the way to Belize City. So you can't just get in the water, pull the old line out. So I installed a new line into the water, and I'll show you the next problem we're having with the new line. So we're down here by the riverbank. This is the new line. This bank looks like it's gonna fall. Anyways, so this new line, the end of it is right here. So if the water goes down another foot, we're not going to have water. So what I need to do is extend that line about 12 feet or so, because the water's not going to go down too much more. It might go down another 3 feet. So today's job is to pull this old line out, maybe figure out why it's not working. I'm guessing it's just a dirty foot valve, to be honest. I'm going to take a piece of this old line and just extend it, add it to the new line and extend it out about a dozen feet. That's the easiest way. I mean, I could troubleshoot the old line and just put it back as it was, but the new one's already all plumbed into the pump. So I'm just going to do the easiest thing. I'm going to cut the new line, put about 12 feet of extension in it, and then pull this old one out, and we'll just use this PVC as like spare pipe for future projects or whatever. So that's today's job. So this is our little pump house. It has a removable roof. There's our water pump. I don't even need to be in there, to be honest, but I'm just showing you guys. I see a cool woodpecker over there. Oh, anyways, squirrel. I've already shut the electricity off. Just gonna let her go. So yeah, that pressure tank right there keeps the whole system pressurized. Let the pressure bleed out. That should be good. Before I moved down here, I was a mechanical maintainer technician at a nuclear power plant. I know that's a mouthful. So I have a decent understanding of how all this stuff works. I'm a millwright by trade, so I guess that's part of the fun of having me out at the farm, is that I get to fix all this stuff. I figure the easiest way for me to do this and the least amount of water leaving the pipe is to open this union. I brought another union so I can connect both halves of the new union to the extension piece and put it in there. Just gonna pull this pipe further into the water so I can fit the new extension piece in. Finally. Oh my God. Yeah, no. Wow. No wonder this was messed up. Buried 3 feet into the bottom of the Belize River. Huh. There's no foot valve on the end of this pipe. So normally there's a foot valve, a one-way valve, and it's completely broken off, which when it first happens, that's what I called. That was my guess. So anyways, that's why it ain't working. Just gonna yank it the rest of the way out of the water and then finish this repair. So yeah, when rainy season hits and the rains come on strong, the amount of water that comes down this river is absolutely wild. And there could be big trees, big tree trunks floating down, and they'd catch on that pipe and they wouldn't even feel that pipe. They wouldn't even know it's there. So I'm guessing that's what happened. So yeah, I used to work at a nuclear power plant. I spent 14 years working there. I started my co-op when I was 18 years old. So the first time I ever actually stepped foot in the nuclear plant, I think I was 19 by the time I made it through like the initial training and everything. From 19 years old, that was my life up until I was 33 when I quit. I'm 35 now. As a young adult, that was easily the best job I ever could have had. When I applied for my job, I think like 1,600 people applied for the job and 8 people got it. So a lot of people want that job and not a lot of people get that job. You have to be smart, you have to pass the aptitude test, you got to do co-ops, you have to have a college education or university education. I have a college education. So a lot of people want that job, not a lot of people get it. So the fact that I quit, put it this way, I worked there for 14 years. And like out of the people I knew there, like maybe 3 or 4 people quit. They call it the golden handcuffs. So you get a job at the nuclear plant, you buy a house, you buy a fancy truck or a fancy car, you get a wife, you have kids, and you have your steady, secure job. No one leaves, no one quits. It's good money. You're not working for slave wages, you're not busting your ass every single day. You get comfortable and no one leaves. What I noticed throughout the years is that a lot of the guys and girls that work there, they're not super happy people. You know, like we're living our comfortable lives, but like people lose that spark in their eye. And not everyone, I'm not speaking for everyone there by any means, but just it's something I noticed over the years that, you know, you walk down the hall on Monday and Joe Blow will be like, hey, another day in paradise. And you could tell there's like he just sat at home watching the hockey game on his couch all weekend, drinking beer. And there's no real excitement in his life. and oh, another day in paradise. I personally got to the point where I was like, if I hear someone else say that one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind. And the thing is, the people there, they know it. They know what's happening, but no one has the gumption. Like, once you have kids and your kids are in hockey and they have their friends and your wife has her job and her circle of friends, like, no one really wants to uproot themselves from that because it's so uncomfortable to do that. I think when I was a kid, I was kind of lucky because my parents did move around quite a bit. It seemed like every few years we were moving. Like, I remember being a kid and that kind of sucked, but we always made new friends. Whenever we went to a new town, we'd make friends, and it was uncomfortable for a few months, but life goes on. I think, having that experience as a child kind of makes me okay with uprooting myself and just realizing that, you will be uncomfortable for a little while, but it's not forever, and you will make new friends and you'll make a new life, and it's totally okay. So yeah, by the time I was like, coming up on my 30s, I was well aware of all of this. I was well aware of the way I felt. And I'm not trying to blame my ex-employer by any means for the way I feel. I just knew deep down that I couldn't do that forever. And I knew that if I did do it forever, I'd be that same guy walking down the hall on a Monday, no spark in my eye. Oh, another day in paradise. I don't know if it's just me, but life is too short for that, in my opinion. I don't have any kids. I had a fiance at the time. We didn't work out. I admit that I did have it slightly easier than some of the other guys when it came to just uprooting myself and leaving. So some of the factors that really made me realize I wasn't loving what I was doing was, it started at 5 in the morning when I'd set my alarm. First of all, I'm not a morning person, I'll admit that. Second, I had barely call it a hobby farm, but I had some chickens and I had a pig, and I'd get up early in the morning, still dark out, and I'd go feed them. And sometimes if it's winter, I'd have to shovel the driveway. If it was summer, I'd get up early and water my garden before I went to work. And I always had a hard time leaving. So that's not a good feeling to just start your day out that way. I get to work, you rush to work, do your morning meeting, figure out your job for the day. A lot of times in the nuclear industry, it's so highly regulated that, the job wouldn't go. So you'd be sitting around waiting for paperwork. So my day would already start not really wanting to leave my little farm, knowing that I kind of like growing stuff. I like the farm atmosphere. You show up to this big nuclear plant, there's hardly any windows. You're working, at least the cruise I was working indoors a lot. So you don't get a lot of sunshine. The building itself is nuclear plants are huge. It's almost a kilometer long. It's 900 meters long. It's this big, giant concrete building. Hardly any windows. You hardly ever see any sunlight. There's so much big equipment, big, huge pumps. A nuclear reactor itself is a giant kettle boiling a shit ton of water. So this plant is massive, it's noisy, there's no sunlight. You're wearing earplugs, but your body still experiences all the vibrations, and it's just I don't know. I found it hard on my nerves. When I left for the day, it was peace and quiet. I'd rush home. I'd rip home, I'd speed home in my car just to get back to my little piece of quiet. And so then I'd get home, and because I was already kind of not regretting the fact I was at work all day, but I get resenting the fact that I was gone all day doing something I don't really enjoy. I was pretty good at my job. I'm not the best mechanic in the world by any means, but I'm not horrible either. I think you could probably ask my ex-co-workers and they'd say I was an okay mechanic. And so I'd get home and there'd be a million things I want to do. I had my little farm, so I had farm chores and my garden and everything. And then I found because so much of my day was taken up, I'd commute like an hour one way to work, you know, you're fighting traffic. So at the end of the day, if you're working a 10-hour shift, it's 12 hours. And I'd come home, and I think the Japanese call it like, it's like revenge procrastination or something. You'd stay up late, you know, doing the things you want to do, looking at your phone, watching videos on YouTube, whatever it is. I'd stay up late because I wanted time for myself. So I'd go to bed way too late, 11, 12 at night, and just wake up tired the next day and do it all again. So by the end of the week, when the weekend comes and it's your time, you're just exhausted. You've been getting 5-hour sleeps, you're not feeling good, there's chores you have to do. You know, you get 2 or 3 days off and it's like, well, you gotta run to Home Depot. I have to, you know, spend time with my fiance. I have to work around the house, get stuff done. And I got to the point where it just felt like I was never doing anything for myself, which maybe that's selfish, I don't know. But when you don't have time for yourself to even like stop and think or relax or do the things that you love to do. For me, I love to ride my dirt bike, and it got to the point where I could barely make time to ride my dirt bike, which is the thing that is what makes me feel like me. So when it came time to quit, it was the scariest thing I ever did, but I knew deep down that it was the right thing to do. In the end, like, I have no regrets. I do not miss my job at all. I definitely miss a lot of the people I work with. I work with some super cool people. Not all of them were like dead in the eyes, you know, oh, another day in paradise, those kind of people. I definitely work with a lot of cool people. I miss them. I miss my family, of course, but living here, starting my own little business here in the bush, being my own boss, working, doing something that I'm really passionate about and enjoy doing. I love growing stuff. I love being in nature. I have zero regrets about leaving the rat race behind and coming here. Just listening to the birds, feeling the sunshine, being here by the river. It's just a way better environment, and I can't even really put into words how much better I feel not having a mortgage, not having a car payment, not having a big house full of stuff. You know, when I sold all my stuff, and I sold my house, and I sold my car, I did not see it coming, but that was like one of the most liberating feelings I've ever had. Not being tied down by all those things anymore was amazing, and unexpectedly, that was one of the best things that came of quitting my job and running off. So there is one aspect of, you know, what I did that I still kind of question. If you watch my last series when I was traveling Mexico on my motorcycle, you remember Tanner and Annie that I traveled with for quite a bit. They brought up the fact that people that are doing what we're doing are either running from something or chasing something, trying to find something. I mean, I've had lots of time to think about it now, and I feel like I check off both of those boxes. I feel like I'm running from the rat race, but I also feel like I'm chasing, I don't know, chasing my passion or chasing a better way of life, I guess. I don't really feel like, you know, I'm just totally running away, just trying to hide. I'm definitely trying to create a new life and something that's more sustainable, something that, you know, I'm passionate about, something that keeps me happy, something that I can build on, something that I can kind of do under my own terms. And I feel like that's healthy. I feel like, you know, some people might just run away and just go hide and, you know, live in their little bubble. Which I kind of feel like I'm doing sometimes, but other times when I think of what I want to do in the future, I definitely want to travel more. I want to expand my business. I want to be able to go back to Canada, see my family more often. I don't feel like I'm totally running, and that's something I've thought about a lot. Okay, so while I was yapping away, I've extended this pipe. I kind of put it back in its place. Done up the unions. Everything's buttoned back up. The pipe is well below the low water line, so it's no longer a concern. The only thing I have left to do is prime the pump back up, and the one problem we do have with this pump is there's no local switch. We just have the power coming out of the ground, these chintzy morettes. We need a switch right here. So that's gonna happen soon, but not today. And the problem with that is the switch is back in the house. So it's really hard to prime the pump. Well, it's almost impossible to prime the pump solo. I'm gonna have to wait till Ari comes back and get him to flick the switch. But I can prime it in the meantime, and I'll just wait till Ari comes back and we'll get the pump primed and we'll be back in business. And hopefully that's the end of it. But the next thing is, I'm gonna get super scientifical here for a minute. A pump, a water pump, can only suck a column of water 32 feet vertical. It can push water a lot higher, but it can only pull water 32 feet. Doesn't matter the power of the pump, doesn't matter the size of the pipe. It's physics. Water cannot be sucked up a pipe higher than a 32-foot vertical drop. It's just physics. So this pump works great during rainy season when there's all kinds of water, but now we're getting into like scary territory where there might be a time when the pump burns out because it's working so hard, or the water goes below 32 feet. Hey, it's editing Andy here. I just want to jump in and say this pump is only rated for 8 meters of suction, which is like 24 feet. While a column of water can only be sucked 32 feet, this pump is only rated for 24 feet. It's 1 horsepower and 8 meters is the suction rating on it. And we can no longer pump river water, which is kind of a big deal. So the solution for that is either get huge water vats and collect a lot of rainwater during rainy season. You can also buy like a gas pump. We'd put it down near the river, fill up the vats that way, or dig a well. And we're thinking about digging a well. That's kind of a future problem. Right now we have water. All right, guys, so this water saga continues. What we have going on is, all right, what happened first is I needed to extend this line into the water. I did that literally the next day. Right now the ground is drying out at an extremely fast rate. And what happens is where this goes into the ground moves here when it dries up. And it pulled this pipe right out of the pump. Bent the threads and the pump was leaking water. I fixed that. Immediately after that happened, the same thing happened here. This bent down and started leaking and sucking in air. Pump wouldn't pump. So now after all that, I finally installed a local switch here. So I can turn the pump on and off. But see this? That should be shooting water out. Like that should, like the water should be hitting the roof. So I'm suspecting that the impeller is clogged now and it's having trouble sucking water up from the river. So I'm gonna take this apart, pop these unions off, pop the pump bowl off, and have a look at the impeller, and I almost guarantee you it's going to be clogged. So here we go. Well guys, I thought for sure I would have had a smoking gun with this impeller, but it's totally clear. There's nothing jammed in here. That's a bummer because I really thought this was the issue, like why the pump wasn't pumping. Well, back to the drawing board, I guess. So yeah, that's how the impeller works. It sucks water in the eye of the impeller here and flings it out here. So I really don't know what's going on with this. It might just be having trouble sucking the water up that far. It's quite the drop down to the water. And pumps are better at pushing water than they are at pulling water. So I don't know. I was really hoping that the impeller was clogged because I'd just clean it and that would solve all our problems, but she's clean as can be. So back to the drawing board. All right, guys, so day 4 of the water saga continues. In the time it's taken me to fix the leaks in the pipe, the water in the river's gone down significantly. And this pump, here, I'll show you. This pump is only good. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, probably not. It can only suck water up 8 meters. And if you look down there, we're probably right at 8 meters right now. So I fixed all the leaks in the line and it's just not pumping water. So I have to move the entire pump down the bank and get it closer to the water. Like I said, it's day 4. We don't have any water. Our water tower just ran out of water. So what I'm gonna do is just pull the pump out, pull this base out, dig the basin down there. I'm probably gonna just cut these angled pieces and just take everything here, move it down there, and then just hack it all into place. I went to the store and grabbed some fittings. I'm gonna have to run an extended electrical wire down there, but yeah, time is money right now. We don't have running water here. The guys are working on the kitchen, and so it's very important we get this show on the road. So hopefully in a couple hours, we're gonna have running water again. Disconnected the electrical. I did it live and I only got zapped once. Not that bad. Up comes the pump. All right, so it's day 5 of the water pump saga. Day 1, the ground drying out ripped the exhaust line out of it. Day 2, just couldn't get it to take a prime. Day 3, we moved it down the hill. Day 4, tried to get it going down here, but the mechanical seal blew out. So today's day 5. I went to the city. I grabbed an all new pump. This new pump. So the other day I wired in a switch up the hill. It's supposed to be a local switch to turn the pump on and off. This new pump, it's the exact same pump as this other one, except that this one has a built-in switch. So wiring in that other switch, in hindsight, was unnecessary, but here we are. So the plan for this one is I'm going to try and find a new mechanical seal for it, rebuild it, maybe have a look in this motor and see if there's something wrong with the motor. Although it's spinning nice, it might be corroded inside or something. It's seen a little bit of rain. Anyways, I'm about to swap out this pump and it should work. So in about an hour we should have water, or I guess a little less than an hour. So yeah, here we go. All right, the new pump is installed, it's plugged in, the power's on, it's primed. And instantly it's building pressure. So, pump's running. It's gonna run for a while. It has to fill up the full 750 liter, which I think is like 200 gallon water tower. has to fill all the lines, the toilets in the house and everything. So it's gonna run for a while, but it feels good to be pumping again. Now, you can see we got some sketchy weather. So these pumps are not meant to be outdoors in the elements. So I got to build some sort of little enclosure over it, which I'm just going to build with like a tarp. It's going to be very simple. Honestly, I'm just happy that we have water again. I tried to find a mechanical seal for the other pump today. I couldn't find one, so I'm going to try and find one and fix up that pump so we have one sitting on the shelf in case something happens to this one. But bam, started first time. I'm pretty happy. Oh, the only thing I didn't check was the air bladder, to check the pressure in the air bladder. It's a little bit low actually. I'm gonna top it up. All right, well, yeah, like I said, the pump's gonna run for a while. I'm not gonna bother putting an enclosure over it until after it's done filling up the water tank, because it's gonna run and get pretty hot probably. But anyways, before it rains, I don't want to get this pump wet. So what happened with the last one, first thing, it ran all night. When it was brand new, it ran all night. Somehow the power came on and it ran all night with no water in it. And it burnt out the mechanical seal. I found another mechanical seal that wasn't quite the right one. I ran it for like a year like that. So the next thing that happened is it got rained on a bunch of times. And these pumps are not waterproof. They're not meant to get rained on. They're not meant to get wet. Before I trash this pump like the last one, I'm gonna take proper precautions and build this little enclosure and take better care of this one, because it's a pain in the ass always working on these pumps. Anyways, I'm gonna call that fixed. Our water problems are over for now. We're filling the water tower as we speak. We can have a shower, we can wash our dishes. Life is good. Okay, so the pump's been pumping for a while, but all of a sudden it was down below and the water tower started raining. So it was overfilling, but we got this float valve in it. I ended up bailing some of the water out so we could see what the problem is. Okay. Well, that looks like it's functioning totally properly. I did pull a dead frog out of here, a tiny little dead frog, so I don't know if that got stuck in the valve or what. Oh, hold on. Why does it look like there's turbulence here? Might just be turbulence in the tank. Doesn't... Is the water level still going up? Oh, I know what's going on. Ari. Yeah. Quickly, do you want to run into the greenhouse?
Sorry, what's that?
You want to quickly run into the greenhouse? I know the problem. It's that valve that goes to my apartment. It's backfilling. I can see the valve right down there. See that purple bucket? There's a little valve. Yeah, I need to install a check valve so this doesn't happen in the future. Yep, that's the one. Problem solved. Idiots, dude. All right, well, here's the view from up on the water tower. Hello down there.
You got a pretty good view around?
Yeah, it's not bad. I see monkeys in the tree over there.
You can live up there if you want.
I wonder if you can, yeah, you can't really see it on the camera, but there's monkeys in the tree over there. Anyways, so what happened is I have this valve that ties in the water tower to my apartment. So in the case that the pump goes out, I can shower, I can do my dishes with water tower water, I can flush my toilet. The problem with that is there needs to be a check valve here, because if I forget to close this valve, then when the pump's running, it can send water into my apartment, and then the back pressure will fill up the water tank, and that's exactly what happened. And in that case, the float valve isn't going to shut that off because it's coming from a different source. So lesson learned, close that valve when the pump is running and install a check valve here so that can't happen. Lesson learned. So at the beginning of the video, I told you guys that there was going to be a little update on the hot sauce business. So here I am standing in this new building that was supposed to be a cabana, the new cabana for the property. Ari's graciously let me use it as a hot sauce kitchen until I can build a bigger, more proper kitchen. So here it is. It's about, what is it? It's the same size as mine. It's 10 by 12.
Yeah, 10 by 12.
And it's almost the same layout. We got the little bathroom here. These will be the windows. This is kind of the view here, looking out into the river lot. The river is just right over here. So yeah, thank you, Ari, for letting me do that. It's much appreciated. And it's small, but I think it's gonna be just enough to get started. Have some shelving right here. We'll have our main countertop and everything right here. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
Went up while I was fixing the water pump and went up pretty quick. So it's good to see progress, and I'm definitely looking forward to making some hot sauce in here.